Okay, so we are going to do our detail chart. So let's get our boxes ready for our details. So detail 1. So let's go up and see what we will put for our first detail. So, what can friends do together? Friends can play together. They can play games inside and outside. So our first detail will be friends like to play together. They can play inside or outside. They can play games too. Okay, so our first detail is that friends like to play together. They can play inside or outside. They can play games too. Okay, let's see, what's our next detail? Friends like to help one another. Okay, a friend can teach you something new. It feels good to help a friend. And they can work together too. Okay, so detail 2. Friends like to help one another. Friends like to work together too. Right? So we have one friend who is helping, and we have more friends down here who are working together. Okay? So let's see what the next page is. Oh, our next question is sharing. So why don't you tell me what you think our detail 3 should be? Okay, so let's see. I'll write down detail 3, and then we can raise our hands and you can tell me what you think. So if you know what detail 3 should be, raise your hand. Ooh, I want you to tell me. Very good. Friends like to share. Friends like to share, right? So they can share. Let's put some examples. They can share a book or a toy or a snack, right? So we saw that friends like to share. And some things they can share are toys or books like these friends, or a snack like these friends. So let's see what detail 4 is. So this detail tells us about who can be friends. So why don't you tell me some details for detail 4? Yes, friends can be bigger or smaller. Friends can be older or younger. That is very good. Okay, so let's do this. Now let's go to So here's another detail, right? So friends can be, if you know, raise your hand. You can tell me. Yes, friends can be pets. Very good. All right, so let's go down here to detail 5. Friends can be pets. Yes, very good. Now let's see what our last detail is. So friends can help one another, and friends can play and share. So let's go to detail 6. 6. Friends can help one another, and friends can, why don't you tell me? We just said it. They can, yes, they can play and share. Okay, so those are all of our details. So let's do the arrows. Doot, doot, doot. Arrow 1. Doot, doot, doot. Arrow 2. Doot, doot, doot. Arrow 3. Doot, doot, doot. Arrow 4. Doot, doot, doot. Arrow 5. Okay, so this is our detail chart. All right, so let's go through these questions, okay? And then after we go through these questions, we will read our detail chart one more time, okay? So let's look at page 3. What games do friends like to play together when they are outside? Let's see. Here's page 5. Here's page 4. Here's page 3. Okay, so what games can friends play together outside? So if you know what games friends can play outside, why don't you raise your hand and tell me? Oh, okay, if you know, raise your hand. Friends can play. Yes, ball games. Ball games outside. What else can friends do? Why don't you tell me? Yes, friends can hop up and down outside. Friends can hop up and down outside. Okay. So those are some games that friends can play outside. Okay. Well, let's see here. Okay. So let's go to our next question. Look at page 7. What can friends share? So here's page 11. Here's page 9. Here's page 7. Okay. So what can friends share? What can friends share? So let's see. What can friends share? If you know, raise your hand. Yes, why don't you tell me? Yes, friends can share snacks. Very good. Friends can share snacks. Good idea. Oops. Okay, and now our last question is a story. Friends are fun, fiction or non-fiction? Okay, so if you think the story Friends Are Fun is fiction, raise your hand. If you think the story is non-fiction, raise your hand. Oh, yeah, very good. This story is non-fiction. This story is the story Friends Are Fun is non-fiction. Okay, so the story Friends Are Fun is non-fiction. It is non-fiction because it is a story about real life friends and has photographs. So it is non-fiction because it is a story about real life friends and has photographs, okay? So now this box likes to disappear. So if you want to practice more, what you can do is you can pause and then you can read it together with your mother or your father. But we will read it together right now, okay? So I will listen. What games can friends play together outside? Friends can play ball games outside. Friends can hop up and down outside. What can friends share? Friends can share snacks. Very good. Is the story Friends Are Fun fiction or non-fiction? The story Friends Are Fun is non-fiction. It is non-fiction because it is a story about real life friends and has photographs, right? So now if you want to practice, you have to pause and then you can practice. But now I am going to erase it and we are going to the next page. Okay, so the next story is I like to play. So we are going to compare texts. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. We forgot to read our detail chart one more time. So let's go back to the story Friends Are Fun and read our detail chart one more time, okay? So it is your turn to read and I will listen, okay? Detail 1. Friends like to play together. They can play inside or outside. They can play games too. Detail 2. Friends like to help one another. Friends like to work together too. Detail 3. Friends like to share. They can share a book or a toy or a snack. Very good. Detail 4. Friends can be bigger or smaller. Friends can be older or younger. Very good. And last, but almost last, detail 5. Friends can be pets. Very good. Detail 6. Friends can help one another, and friends can play and share. Whew, very good. That was a hard story. So you are very, very good. So smart. All right, so let's go to the next page. All right, so we are going to erase. Oh. Okay, so we got rid of our detail chart, and now we are going to read another story. So let's compare texts. Read about what these friends like to play. So the story title is, raise your hand if you know. Why don't you tell me? Yes, the title of the story is I Like to Play. Okay, so now we'll read it together. With my friend Sam, I like to race. We shoot our rockets into space. Wow, so now it's your turn. With my friend Sam, I like to race. We shoot our rockets into space. Very good. Now, with my friend Anna, I like to run. Playing soccer is lots of fun. So here's the boy and his friend Anna. So now let's read it together. With my friend Anna, I like to run. Playing soccer is lots of fun. Okay, very good. Now, next page. Oh, first I'll read. With my friend Dan, I like to dig. We make a castle, tall and big. Wow. So let's read together. With my friend Dan, I like to dig. We make a castle, tall and big. Wow. Okay. So let's look at the making connections question. What things do the friends in the selection and poem do together? What things are the same? What things are different? Okay, so the friends in the story, friends are fun, like to, what do they like to do? Do you remember? If you remember, raise your hand. I want you to give me an answer. Yes, yes, very good. Like to play ball and make food, play games, and do you remember one more? It's an important one, the most important one. I want you to tell me. Yes, they like to share. Very good. So the friends in the story, friends are fun, like to play ball, make food, play games, and share. So now let's look at this story. So Sam and his friend like to race. Okay, so that's none of these. Oh, they like to play soccer, which is a ball game. So that's the same as friends are fun. And they like to dig in the sand and make a castle. So that's the same too, right? Let's go and look. See, look, they're in the sand making a fort, which is like a castle. So let's go here. The friends in the story I like to play, right? Yep. So the friends in the story I like to play. Oh, like to race rockets, play soccer, and build sand castles. The soccer and sand castles are the same in both stories. The other things are different. Some of these things are racing rockets, making food, and there we go. So let's read this together. The friends in the story, friends are fun, like to play ball, make food, play games, and share. The friends in the story, I like to play, like to race rockets, play soccer, build sand castles. Let's put it in, and build sand castles. So the soccer and sand castles are the same in both stories, right? The other things are different. Some of these things are racing rockets and making food. Okay, so let's go to the next page. Okay, and there is a focus on social studies. So our purpose is to find out the kinds of things your friends like to do when they play together. So what to do? Ask your friends what they like to do together. And then draw a chart like this one. My friends, and then like to. So let's do that here. Okay. So we will say my friends like to. So my friends, oops, my friends like to. Okay, so let's make our chart. And you can draw this as well. So get a pen and paper and draw it if you want to. So, for example, my friend Tony likes to play soccer. And my friend John likes to make food. And my friend Sarah likes to race rockets. Okay, so now these are my three friends, Tony, John, and Sarah. And this is what they like to do: play soccer, make food, race rockets. Okay. So now it is your turn to make a chart just like mine and pick some of your friends and write down what they like to do. Okay? So now you can pause and go and find some paper and a pen, like this, a pen. And you can write out what your friends like to do in the chart. And when you're done, you can come back to me and we can talk about it, okay? So now pause and then go do the work. Okay, are you done? Okay, so now why don't you talk to me about what your friends like to do? Okay, I'll listen. Uh-huh. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow. Very good. Your friends like to do so many things. So many things. All right. So let's go to our next and last questions. Okay. So I will erase my friends chart. And we will do another set of questions, okay? So, what is friends are fun mostly about? Okay, so what are friends are fun mostly about? It is most about telling us what friends like to do and who friends are. Okay, so what is friends are fun mostly about? It is mostly about telling us what friends like to do and who our friends can be. So it told us that friends like to play sports, play games, friends like to help one another, and friends can be big or small or old or young, right? Friends can even be our pets. So now let's see, what is the poem I like to play about? So now it is your turn to answer. You can tell me. I'll listen. Okay. Yes. It is about what the boy likes to do with his friends. Right, so it is about what the boy likes to do with his friends. Play soccer, race rockets, build sandcastles, right? So let's go to the next question. Author's purpose. So why do you think the author wrote the story Friends Are Fun? So why do you think the author wrote the story? I think the author wrote the story to show us that we can have many different friends and we can do many different things with our friends, right? So I think the author wrote the story to show us that we can have many different friends, older, younger, pets, tall, short, and we can do many different things with our friends. So the author makes us feel happy and lets us know that we can do many things with our friends. Play ball, make food, read books, share a snack. So we can do so many things with our friends, right? So it was to give us some ideas about what we can do with our friends and who our friends can be. Now let's go to the next question. Why do you think the author wrote the poem I Like to Play? So why do you think the author wrote the poem I Like to Play? If you have an idea, raise your hand. Oh, why don't you try? Okay, so the author wrote the poem because they wanted to make a funny story. That's a good idea. The author wrote the poem to show that friends can have fun together doing different things. Very good. So our last question for today is the make connections question. So how are the friends in Friends Are Fun like your friends in school, and how are they different? Okay, so how are the friends in Friends Are Fun like your friends in school? How are they different? Okay, so let's see. So same. If you have an idea, raise your hand. Yes, your friends and the friends in the story like to play soccer. Like to play soccer. Okay, what about, why don't you tell me? Yes, they like to share books. Okay. So now let's do some different ones. So, I think one difference may be that your friends don't like to make food, right? Your mother and your father make food for you. So one thing that's different is your friends do not make their own food. Do you have any other differences? Yes, that's a good idea. Your friends are all the same age. No friends at your school are older than you, right? So your friends are all the same age. Okay, so that is all we have for our lesson today. So thank you for taking time and learning with me, and I will see you next time, okay? Yay! Bye-bye.